The Ring of Rules. 12 Principles for Living with Purpose, Power, and Peace by David Russo. Introduction. The ring and the rules. There's something timeless about a ring. Unlike a line, it has no beginning and no end. It symbolizes unity, continuity, and commitment. People wear rings to signify love, loyalty, legacy. A ring isn't just jewelry, it's a reminder. A silent promise we carry with us. This book, The Ring of Rules, offers 12 principles that together form a unified, living framework for how to live with purpose, power, and peace. These aren't rules in the strict, suffocating sense. They aren't laws meant to punish or restrict you. They are guiding truths tested by time, lived by people of depth and substance, and designed to help you align your life with what matters most. We live in an age of noise, distraction, and endless options. In the midst of it all, it's easy to feel scattered or uncertain and unsure if we're chasing the right goals, using our energy wisely, or becoming the kind of person we want to be. We've been sold to toxic ideas that freedom means doing whatever you want, and that meaning is something you stumble into by accident. But the truth is, freedom comes from alignment, not indulgence. Meaning comes from living by design, not default. That's where the Ring of Rules comes in. Each rule in this ring is built on a timeless principle: integrity, purpose, discipline, courage, empathy. And Mirand, each one connects to the next. They are not separate silos, but links in a chain. When practiced together, they create a powerful circle of character and clarity. Whether you're leading a team, starting a family, healing from loss, or simply trying to live more fully, these rules will meet you where you are and guide you forward. How to use this book. This isn't just a book to read, it's a tool to use. At the end of each chapter, you'll find reflection prompts to help you internalize the rule. Application steps for daily or weekly practice. You don't have to master all 12 rules overnight. This is not a checklist, it's a compass. Return to it often. Read it straight through, or focus on the rule that speaks loudest in your current season. Let it evolve with you. And finally, this book ends with an open invitation. After exploring the 12 principles in the ring, you'll be asked to write your 13th rule, your own unique insight or conviction, forged from your life experience. Because while this ring is a guide, you are the author of your life. Welcome to the Ring of Rules. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Rule of Integrity. Always align action with truth. Integrity is where everything begins. Without it, success is hollow, relationships are fragile, and peace is impossible. At its core, integrity means wholeness. The word comes from the Latin integritas, meaning intact or complete. A person of integrity is not perfect, but they are unified. What they say and what they do match. Their words reflect their beliefs. Their behavior reflects their values. They do the right thing, even when no one is watching. It sounds simple, but in the real world, it's costly. The price of compromise. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail slowly, quietly, by tolerating small compromises. A lie told to avoid conflict. A promise made and broken without apology. A decision that feels wrong but is easier. These moments don't usually seem dramatic, but they add up. A team leader cuts corners to meet a deadline just this once. A friend gossips to feel included. A partner hides a truth to protect someone they love. These choices begin to shape who we are. And over time, they pull us away from the core of our character. Every compromise is a fork in the road. Move closer to the truth or farther from it. The foundation of trust, integrity, doesn't just protect your peace. builds trust, the currency of every relationship worth having. When people know your word means something, they lean in, they listen, they follow. But when they sense inconsistency, everything breaks down. A leader with no integrity may get compliance, but never loyalty. A friend without it may share laughter, but never real connection. A life without it may look good on the outside, but will always feel empty within. Your integrity is your reputation in the mirror. How to live with integrity. So how do we build a life of integrity in a world that rewards shortcuts? 1. Get clear on your core values. If you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for convenience. Take time to reflect your top 3 to 5 values. Honor them. Use them like a compass. 2. Close the gap. We all have a gap between who we are and who we want to be. Integrity is about shrinking that gap, not by being perfect, but by being honest about where we fall short and doing something about it. 3. Tell the truth, especially when it costs you. The real test of integrity isn't when it's easy, it's when the truth is inconvenient. Say it anyway. Integrity builds self. 4. Keep your word or earn it. When you can't, no one is flawless, but there's power in acknowledging when you drop the ball. Say, I was wrong. Say, I'm sorry. That's not weakness, it's strength. Chapter 2. Rule of Purpose. Know why before you try. Imagine waking up, getting dressed, grabbing your keys, and driving. No map, no destination. It's just motion. That's how many people live. They go to school because they're supposed to. Get a job because they need one. Chase goals they didn't choose, buy things they don't need, and pursue validation that leaves them hollow. They're moving, yes, but where? The rule of purpose says, know why before you try. Don't just act a line. Don't just move, mean it. Because when you know your why, you stop chasing everything and start building something. Purpose is not a luxury. Purpose is often misunderstood. It's not some magical passion that lands in your lap one day. It's not reserved for the rich or the lucky. Purpose is available to everyone, and essential for anyone who wants to live with clarity. Purpose is what turns pain into power, work into meaning, and effort into impact. It's not always loud. You don't have to cure a disease or become famous. You just need to live on purpose instead of autopilot. And here's the truth. You already have clues. Your life has been whispering to you all along what breaks your heart, what lights you up, what can't you walk away from, even when it's hard. These are signals. Follow them. The danger of drifting. People who drift often seem busy, but beneath the surface, they're disconnected. Without a personal purpose, they borrow other people's. They chase status, money, or approval. But no matter what they achieve, they feel unfulfilled. External success with internal confusion is a recipe for burnout. Purpose protects you from the noise. When you know your why, you say no with clarity. You say yes with conviction. You focus your time, your energy, and your growth in one direction. Becoming the person you're here to be, exercises to find your why. Here are 2 simple tools to begin clarifying your personal purpose. 1. The 5 Whys exercise. Start with a goal or desire. Then ask yourself, why do I want that? Repeat the question 5 times, drilling deeper each time. Example, I want to start a business. Why? To make more money. Why? To have more freedom. Why? So I can spend more time with my kids. Why? Because I didn't have that growing up. Why? Because I want to break a cycle and build a legacy. Now we're not just talking about money, we're talking about meaning. 2. Purpose map. Draw a circle and divide it into 3 sections. Passion. What energizes me? Pain. What have I overcome that I can help others with? Service, where can I make a difference? Where these three overlap, you'll find purpose. Purpose isn't pressure, it's permission. Permission to live deeply, not just efficiently. Permission to let go of what doesn't fit. Permission to become who you were meant to be. Because when you know your why, you don't have to be pushed, pulled. Chapter 3. The Power of Discipline. Choose integrity over ease. Motivation is fleeting, a spark that ignites but rarely sustains. Discipline, though, it's the steady flame that keeps you going when the excitement wears off. Too many people wait to feel ready. They think they need inspiration to act. But motivation is moody. It disappears when life gets dull or difficult. That's where discipline steps in. It's the quiet decision to show up anyway. To do what matters, not what's easiest. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about staying loyal to your highest standards, even when your current feelings disagree. Here's the truth. The people you look up to, they didn't rely on magic. They relied on momentum. They weren't more inspired. They were more reliable. Discipline shapes identity. Your habits aren't just things you do. They're statements about who you are. Every time you stick to your commitment, whether it's writing one paragraph, working out, making the tough call, or saying no when it's hard, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. Discipline isn't just action. It's self-definition. It's how you become the person you say you want to be. Want confidence. Honor your word to yourself. Want to feel proud. Do the right thing even if no one's watching. Want real change. Start by owning your next 24 hours. Discipline is self-respect in motion. Structure beats willpower. Discipline isn't about pushing harder every day. That's burnout waiting to happen. Willpower runs out. Systems don't. What actually works? Morning rituals to minimize decision fatigue. Digital boundaries to protect your attention. Habit stacking to link new behaviors with existing ones. Environment tweaks that remove resistance, like keeping your workout clothes visible or prepping healthy meals in advance. It's not about trying harder, it's about designing smarter. You don't rise to your ambitions. You default to your systems. The discipline myth. Grind or die. There's a toxic idea that discipline means constant suffering. Work till you drop. Rest is weakness. If you're not hustling, you're losing. Wrong. Real discipline has rhythm. It includes rest and recalibration. It's not about proving your worth, it's about protecting your purpose. True discipline doesn't drain you. It aligns you. It's not fueled by obsession, it's powered by intention. Chapter 4. The Rule of Curiosity. Keep your mind open, always. Curiosity is the beginning of transformation. As children, we explore the world with questions, wonder, and eagerness. Then, somewhere along the way, we trade curiosity for certainty. We stop exploring and start performing. We act like we already know, so we stop learning. The truth isn't a phase, it's a lifelong posture. Curiosity is the engine behind every meaningful evolution. The rule of curiosity is simple. Stay open. Stay inquisitive. Stay humble, not because you're lacking, but because life is endlessly layered. Everyone you meet knows something you don't. Every moment has something to teach if you're paying attention. Adaptability is the new intelligence. In a rapidly shifting world where industries evolve, tech transforms, and norms change overnight, rigid thinking becomes a liability. The people who thrive, they stay fluid. They evolve. They don't cling to being right. They chase being ready. The curiosity is no longer optional, it's strategic. It's how you stay useful. And more importantly, how you stay awake. Closed minds protect their egos. Open minds protect their potential. Learn from everything. You don't need a classroom to keep learning. Your best teachers are already around you. 1. Books, decades of knowledge in a few hours. Reading is the cheat code of the driven. 2. Mentors talk to people who've done what you want to do. Ask boldly. Listen deeply. 3. Mistakes, only fools waste failure. The wise extract gold from it. Ask, what did this show me? What will I do differently next time? It's not experience that teaches, it's reflection on that experience. Practice curiosity daily. Curiosity doesn't demand more time, just more awareness. Try this. Ask, what can I learn from this? Every day, especially during struggles. Chase at least one new idea per week, through a book, a podcast, a person, or a risk. Write down what surprised you. Insight hides where you least expect it. Challenge your assumptions. Why do I believe this? Who taught me? Is it still true? Stay curious, and life keeps expanding. The world gets bigger when your mind stays open. Curiosity keeps you grounded, sharp, and endlessly evolving. Chapter 5. Rule of Courage. Choose progress over comfort. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else, growth, truth, purpose is more important than fear. Too often, we wait for fear to disappear before we act. We tell ourselves, once I feel ready, I'll speak up. Once I feel confident, I'll make the move. Once the fear goes away, I'll start. But that day rarely comes. Courage is not something you wait for. It's something you choose, especially when it's uncomfortable. The rule of courage invites you to stop making comfort the goal. Life begins at the edge of what's familiar. Growth requires risk. Progress demands discomfort and fear. It's not your enemy. It's a compass pointing toward the place where you're about to evolve. Fear as a signal, not a stop sign. Fear shows up when you're stepping into uncertainty, vulnerability, or potential. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It usually means you're doing something real. Think about it. Fear of public speaking means you care about your message. Fear of failure means the goal matters to you. Fear of rejection means you're opening your heart. The goal isn't to eliminate fear, it's to act anyway. Courage isn't loud or reckless. It can be quiet, measured, deliberate. Sometimes, courage is leaving a toxic job. Other times, it's setting a boundary, admitting you were wrong, or trying again after you've failed. Whatever the form, courage always chooses progress over comfort, emotional courage versus physical bravery. We often think of courage in dramatic terms: soldiers, first responders, mountain climbers. But the most powerful courage in everyday life is emotional. It's the bravery to be seen, to be vulnerable, to tell the truth, to love again after loss. Emotional courage is harder to see but just as transformative. It's telling your story when it would be easier to stay silent. It's applying for something you don't feel ready for. It's leaving behind a version of yourself that feels safe but small. The bravest thing you can do is become more you. Small steps into big change. You don't have to leap every time. Courage grows through small acts of bravery. Speak up in the meeting. Make the phone call. Share your idea. Ask the question. Say what you mean. Try the thing. Every time you move through fear, it gets smaller. And you get stronger. Don't wait for life to be less scary. Build a heart that's more resilient. Chapter 6. Rule of Ownership. No excuses, just action. If there's one shift that separates people who talk about change from those who actually change, it's this: taking full ownership of your life. It's easier to blame. Easier to explain away our struggles with bad luck, toxic people, or the system. And yes, life can be unfair. People can let you down. Circumstances can stack against you. But even when you're not responsible for what happened, you are always responsible for what happens next. That's what this rule is about. No excuses, just action. Not because you caused every problem, but because you're the only one who can choose the response. Ownership is the refusal to outsource your life. It means looking in the mirror before you point out the window. Why we resist ownership. Let's be honest, it's hard to take ownership. Why? Because it forces us to face uncomfortable truths. Maybe I've been avoiding the hard work. Maybe I haven't set boundaries. Maybe I've stayed small out of fear, not because someone held me back. The ego resists this. It wants to stay protected. But growth begins the moment we stop defending ourselves and start developing ourselves. Taking ownership isn't about shame. It's about power. It's saying, I can't control everything, but I can control how I respond. I can choose what I do next. And that's enough to change everything. Ownership is a mindset. Stop outsourcing your power. Stop waiting for a rescue. Own your life and build it from the inside out. Words shape identity. If you speak like you're powerless, you'll live like you are. Tools for radical responsibility. Here are 2 simple but powerful tools to build the ownership habit. 1. The accountability map. Draw 3 zones. Zone of control. What's 100% in my hands? My effort, my attitude, my decisions. Zone of influence. What can I affect? Team energy, family dynamics, my environment. Zone of concern. What's outside my control? It's the past, other people's choices, global events. Spend 90% of your energy in the first 2. Let go of the third. Ownership means focusing on what you can do. The no excuse reflection. Each day, reflect on one situation where you were tempted to blame or avoid. Then answer, what could I have done differently? What lesson is here for me? What will I do next time? This turns mistakes into momentum and excuses into fuel for growth. Ownership creates momentum. Once you take ownership, something powerful happens. Your confidence returns. You stop waiting. You start building. And the world starts responding to your energy differently. You stop thinking in terms of what's fair and start thinking in terms of what's possible. The most empowered people you know didn't get there by accident. They got there by owning their outcomes. Not because they had all the answers, but because they stopped waiting for someone else to give them permission. So the next time you're tempted to blame, pause and ask, what part of this do I control? What's the next right step I can take? The answer might be small, but small steps owned consistently lead to massive transformation. Chapter 7. The empathy principle. Seek to understand before you react. Behind every face is a story untold, a wound unseen, a silent battle in motion. People carry more than they show and often, far more than we realize. Empathy is the bridge that closes the distance between strangers, teammates, partners, and even adversaries. It doesn't require agreement. It requires intention. Before you judge, criticize, or lash out, pause and ask yourself, what don't I see yet? In a culture that prizes being right, empathy chooses to be real. Real strength looks like empathy. Empathy isn't weakness. It's emotional, strength applied. It's the foundation of healthy connection, grounded leadership, and meaningful communication. Without it, misunderstandings grow, trust crumbles, and distance widens. You become someone others feel safe around. People open up to you. They feel seen, heard, and understood, not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to listen. Empathy is learned, not inherited. There's a myth that empathy is something you either have or you don't. But empathy isn't a fixed trait, it's a skill. And like any skill, it gets sharper with consistent practice. Signs empathy might be missing: talking over someone instead of hearing them out, turning every conversation back to your own story, making snap judgments without understanding the context. Now, compare that to the habits of empathetic people. They listen with curiosity, not an agenda. They wonder, what's really going on here? They ask more than they assume. They hold space even when they disagree. Listening isn't the same as hearing. Most people listen just enough to prepare their reply. But empathy listens to understand, not to respond. It's presence, not performance. Empathetic listening sounds like, "That sounds really tough. Want to talk more about it? How did that situation make you feel? What can I do to support you right now?" You don't need to fix anything. You just need to feel with them. Sometimes, being fully present is the most healing thing you can offer. Empathy in everyday moments. Empathy isn't reserved for emotional conversations. It shows up in everyday choices. In relationships, slowing down to see things from their side before jumping to defend yours. In leadership, checking in before checking performance metrics. In conflict, asking what fears or pressures might be driving their behavior. Toward yourself, swapping self-judgment for self-compassion when you stumble. Empathy doesn't let harmful behavior slide, but it helps you understand the root of it. And from that understanding comes wisdom, not just comfort. Empathy exercise. Try on their perspective. Take 5 quiet minutes today. Think of someone who's been difficult for you lately. Instead of venting, reflect. What could this person be carrying that I can't see? What stress, fear, or pressure might be influencing them? If I lived their life, would I act differently? You don't have to agree with them. You're simply choosing to respond from thoughtfulness rather than reactivity. Empathy widens your lens. It deepens connection, diffuses tension, and reveals the shared humanity we all carry. And the more you extend it to others, the easier it becomes to offer it to the one person who often needs it most: yourself. Because empathy isn't just something you give, it's something you live. Chapter 8. The Art of Intentional Focus. Progress begins with saying no. In an age that idolizes busyness and constant motion, choosing focus is a bold and countercultural act. The art of intentional focus goes against the grain. To grow where it counts, you must deliberately walk away from what doesn't. True focus isn't about piling on more tasks, it's about sharpening your priorities. It's the discipline of doing less with more purpose and precision. Focus is your defense against the barrage of distractions threatening your clarity. Without it, effort is scattered, momentum is lost, and burnout becomes inevitable. The lie of multitasking: modern life praises those who juggle endlessly. But neuroscience tells a clearer story. Our brains weren't built to multitask. What we're actually doing is rapid tasks, which in Gand, it's draining. Every switch costs mental bandwidth. It disrupts flow, invites errors, and slows you down. Mastering focus means doing one thing at a time completely and consciously. Whether it's writing, listening, thinking, or resting, presence is power. Focus on the few that matter, the 80/20 lens. The 80/20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, reveals that most results stem from a small percentage of your actions. That means not all effort is created equal. Saying no is strategic. It means protecting your time from trivial tasks, declining obligations that drain you, and resisting the temptation of every next big thing. When you focus on the few activities that truly drive progress, you move forward with clarity and efficiency and with far less stress. Attention is currency, spend it wisely. In today's hyper-connected world, your attention is under constant attack. Apps, alerts, and algorithms are engineered to hijack your focus. Take back control. Silence non-essential notifications. Set fixed times to check messages and scroll. Activate do not disturb during high-focus periods. Design a distraction-free zone, a quiet room, a tidy desk, or a tech-free hour. Your attention is limited. Guard it like a precious resource, because it is. Train for deep work, one session at a time. Deep works, sinnen, meaningful, focus sissen, just for elite performers. It's a trainable habit. Start simple, dedicate 30 minutes to a single, high-value task. Eliminate all digital distractions beforehand. Use a timer to stay committed. Take mindful breaks to refresh your mental energy. The more you practice, the stronger your focus muscle becomes. Eventually, you'll find yourself producing higher quality work in less time and enjoying it more. Focus is a bold act. Choosing focus in a distracted world takes bravery. Every time you say no to something meaningless, you make space for what really counts. Time and energy are not unlimited. Use them deliberately, and you'll build a life aligned with what matters most. Chapter 9. Rule of Humility. Learn from everyone. Humility is often misunderstood as weakness or low self-esteem. In reality, it is one of the greatest strengths you can cultivate. The rule of humility is simple yet profound. To grow, you must be willing to learn from everyone, no exceptions. Humility is the quiet confidence that says, I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. It's the courage to admit when you're wrong, and the openness to receive feedback without defensiveness. It's the recognition that wisdom can come from any source, a mentor, a stranger, a child, or even a competitor. Why humility is strength. True humility requires self-awareness and emotional courage. It means stepping out of ego's grip and into a mindset of curiosity and growth. Confidence versus arrogance. Confidence is believing in your ability to improve. Arrogance is believing you don't need to. The humble person knows their worth, but also their limits. The gift of feedback. Humility transforms criticism from a threat into a gift. When you're open to feedback, you can course-correct and improve faster. The wisdom of not knowing. Embracing what you don't know opens doors to new ideas, perspectives, and innovations. Humility doesn't diminish you. It expands your capacity to learn, adapt, and lead. The growth mindset of humility. Carol Dweck's research on the growth mindset aligns deeply with humility. Those with a fixed mindset believe their intelligence or abilities are static. Those with a growth mindset see challenges, failures, and feedback as opportunities to grow. Humility is the emotional foundation of this mindset. It helps you stay teachable and resilient, even in the face of setbacks. Learning from everyone. Every person you meet has something to teach you, if you're willing to listen. The junior colleague who brings fresh ideas. The customer who points out flaws you didn't see. The competitor who pushes you to raise your game. The friend who offers honest, sometimes tough, advice. Humility means recognizing value beyond status, credentials, or ego. It means asking questions instead of assuming you know. Practices to cultivate humility. Here are some ways to build humility in daily life. Seek feedback regularly. Invite trusted people to give you honest insights, and listen without defensiveness. Admit mistakes openly. Own your errors as learning opportunities rather than threats to your identity. Practice curiosity. When you feel judgment rising, pause and ask, what can I learn from this? Celebrate others' success. Replace envy with genuine appreciation for others' achievements. Humility is not a destination. It's a lifelong journey. The more you embrace it, the more you open yourself to growth, deeper relationships, and lasting impact. By learning from everyone, you strengthen the foundation upon which all other rules stand. Chapter 10. Rule of Generosity. Give more than you take. Generosity is more than just giving money or material things. It's a mindset, a way of living that shifts the focus from what can I get to what can I give. The rule of generosity invites us to live with open hands and open hearts, trusting that by giving more than we take, we create abundance not just for others, but for ourselves as well. In a culture often fixated on accumulation and self-interest, generosity can feel countercultural. But it's one of the most powerful forces for connection, fulfillment, and growth. When you give, you signal to the world and to yourself that there is enough. Enough time, enough love, enough resources. The science of giving. Research shows that generosity activates the brain's reward centers. Giving releases dopamine, often called the feel-good neurotransmitter, and oxytocin, known as the love hormone. These chemicals foster feelings of happiness, bonding, and trust. In other words, generosity is literally good for your brain and your heart. Generosity isn't about sacrifice. It's about investment. It's an investment in relationships, in community, and in your own emotional well-being. Time, attention, and kindness. The true currencies, generosity, doesn't always mean money. Some of the most valuable gifts you can give are intangible. Time, listening fully, being present without distraction. Showing up when it matters, attention. Offering genuine interest and care in someone else's story. Kindness, small acts, smalls, encouragement. Thoughtful gestures that build connection. These forms of generosity cost little, but mean a lot. They create ripples that extend far beyond the moment. Why give without expecting return? True generosity is unconditional. It's giving without strings attached or an agenda to get something back. When you give expecting something in return, it becomes a transaction, not a gift. Unconditional generosity creates freedom. It frees you from the anxiety of keeping score and opens space for authentic relationships. It also models a powerful mindset, abundance over scarcity. Practice. The daily give without return challenge. Try this. Simple practice for 1 week each day. Do one act of giving without expecting or asking for anything in return. It could be holding the door for a stranger, sending an encouraging text, or offering your help without being asked. Notice how it feels to give freely. Observe any shifts in your mood, energy, or interactions. Reflect. How does giving change your sense of connection and purpose? Generosity is not a finite resource. The more you give, the more you open yourself to receive in surprising and abundant ways. By giving more than you take, you become part of a cycle that enriches your life and the lives of everyone around you. Chapter 11. The Principle of Persistence. Get up every time. Life rarely moves in a straight line. It zigs and zags, lifts you high, then knocks you down. The principle of persistence teaches that stumbling isn't defeat. Staying down is true resilience, is the ability to bounce back, adjust, and evolve through life's challenges. It's the quiet courage that keeps you walking forward, no matter how many times life trips you up. Resilience doesn't ignore hardship or pretend emotions don't exist. It means embracing the pain and choosing to move forward anyway. Surf the storm, don't dodge the tide. Think of life like the ocean, sometimes serene, sometimes wild. The waves don't ask your permission to crash. You can't stop them, but you can learn to surf. Resilience is the art of surfing the chaos, not sidestepping it. It's about accepting that struggle isn't a mistake and the journey is the journey. Resisting life's waves drains your energy. Learning to ride them builds endurance, wisdom, and perspective, transforming the meaning of failure. One of resilience's biggest roadblocks, our fear of failure. Too often, we treat failure as a verdict on who we are, but failure is information. It's not the end, it's a step in the process. Thomas Edison once said, "I haven't failed. I've simply discovered 10,000 ways that won't work." That mindset is resilience in action. By viewing failure as feedback, you replace fear with curiosity. You begin to ask, what's the lesson here? Instead of what's wrong with me. Resilience isn't born, it's built. Want to strengthen your resilience muscles? Here are some ways to train. 1. Self-reflection. Take time to unpack challenges. Quiet reflection allows you to process emotions and extract wisdom. 2. Strong circles. You're not meant to do it all alone. Surround yourself with those who lift you up, friends, mentors, or therapists. Resilience is fueled by connection. Rewrite your inner story. Your internal dialogue shapes your reality. Shift from limiting self-talk, "I can't do this," to empowering truths. "I've overcome before, I will again," the mindset of the comeback. Resilience doesn't erase difficulty, it redefines it. Setbacks become turning points. Pain becomes fuel. Loss becomes a gateway to deeper strength. Every person who inspires you has struggled. What makes them different is their response. They turn defeat into determination. When you build resilience, you become unshakable, not because storms stop coming, but because you've learned how to stand in the rain. Falling is part of life. Rising is a decision. Choose to rise again and again. That's what makes you resilient. Chapter 12. The Principle of Legacy. Live now like you'll be remembered later. Legacy isn't reserved for the rich or famous. It's not just about achievements carved in stone. It's about the echoes of your actions in the lives of others. The Principle of Legacy asks one powerful question: how do you want to be remembered? And then it flips it. Are you living that way today? Legacy isn't built someday. It's built daily, through every choice, every interaction, every value you embody. Legacy in the little things. Many think legacy requires something grand, a book, a business, a breakthrough. But often, it's the quiet moments that leave the deepest marks. The way you speak to those who can do nothing for you, the patience you show under pressure, the consistency of your integrity, the grace you give when no one's watching. Legacy is built not just on milestones, but on the micro moments that define your character. Let values be your North Star. If you want to leave a meaningful legacy, you need to know what you stand for. Ask yourself, what principles matter most to me? How do I want people to feel after they've spent time with me? What contribution do I want to make to the world? When your actions are rooted in your core values, your legacy takes shape organically because you're living with alignment. Crafting your mission statement. A personal mission statement is your internal compass. It clarifies your why, guiding decisions when the path gets foggy. Here's a simple example: to lead with authenticity, spread compassion, and help others rise to their fullest potential. Writing your mission down helps you show up with purpose, especially when distractions try to pull you off course. Legacy happens one day at a time. It's easy to get lost in busyness or chase short-term wins. But real legacy requires presence, intention, and prioritizing what truly matters. Here's how to stay aligned. Take regular pauses to check if your life reflects your values. Focus on the relationships and contributions that matter most. Let go of perfection. Legacy is found in progress and presence, not flawlessness. Legacy isn't about what you leave behind. It's about how you live while you're here. By living your values today, you shape a legacy that echoes far beyond your lifetime. Reviewing the 12 rules, let's briefly revisit the core of each rule. 1. Integrity. Align your actions with truth and character. 2. Purpose. Know your why before you try. 3. Discipline. Do what's right, even when it's hard. 4. Curiosity. Never stop learning and growing. 5. Courage. Choose progress over comfort. 6. Ownership. Take radical responsibility, no excuses. 7. Empathy. Seek to understand before you judge. 8. Focus. Say no to grow and protect your energy. 9. Humility. Learn from everyone with an open heart. 10. Generosity. Give more than you take freely, and often. 11. Resilience. Rise every time you fall. 12. Legacy. Live each day as the person you want to be remembered as. Each rule strengthens the next, creating a balanced, resilient, and purposeful life. Integrity fuels ownership. Empathy enriches generosity. Resilience deepens courage. Together, they create momentum that carries you forward. The ring as your compass. Imagine carrying this ring as a compass for your life, a symbol of unity, commitment, and completeness. When decisions feel overwhelming or your path unclear, these rules can guide you back to center. When tempted to cut corners, remember integrity. When motivation wanes, reconnect with your purpose. When distractions pull you away, reclaim your focus. When fear whispers, summon your courage. When you stumble, lean on your resilience. The ring is not a chain that binds you, it's a tool that frees you to live with intention and confidence. Your 13th rule. The next step, the beauty of the ring, is that it's never truly closed. There's always room for growth, adaptation, and new insights. This book offers 12 foundational rules, but your journey is unique. I invite you now to write your own 13th Rule 1 that reflects your personal wisdom, experience, or aspiration. What principle will you add to your ring? What will be your guiding light moving forward? This act of creation is an expression of ownership over your life's design, a step toward living not by default, but by deliberate choice. Closing thoughts. Living by the ring of rules is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up each day, committed to growth, aligned with your truth, and connected to those around you. As you close this book, may you open a new chapter, life shaped by purpose, powered by discipline and courage, and filled with peace, born from empathy, resilience, and generosity. May your ring be strong, may your journey be bold, and may you always live fully, with heart and intention. Thank you for letting me walk this path with you.